My beautiful souls, let's jump in and do some shuffling and just see what we get. I keep feeling like beginning with something strong, but we're beginning with the electricity card talking about wildness. And so we're needing you to let loose. We're needing you to live, all right? Be free, express yourself. There's a sense of things feeling a little bit off, but you can't be striving for perfection at this point. And things may feel very, okay, black and white, kind of obvious. You know, it's like you're on and then you're off. You're on and then you're off. But the silence feels pretty good, you know, and then you feel like creating noise or maybe busyness. And then they're wanting you to recognize that sometimes when you feel like fitting in, there's something negative to that. Okay, there's maybe something more beneath the surface. But that's not even what I meant to say. What I was trying to say was trying to fill in the blank spaces, the noise, the empty times. It's not always about that, you know? And so spirits may hold you back from trying to make things louder or busier, you know, and filling in that space. But, you know, it is going to be a day where music will come into play, and I feel that playing into this card, this energy. And so we need to redevelop a sense of balance, okay? If you're feeling like you want to be up and doing things, then great, go for it. But make sure you're doing it for the right reasoning, you know? Don't just go and do things just to do it. But then they're saying that you do need a release. You do need to feel like things are more so working out in your favor. And so you'll see evidence of this throughout the day, but it's like things are too serious. Things are too uptight. You know, you're meant to be bigger in this lifetime, but it's also spirits reminding you and showing you evidence of the fact that everything's getting better day by day, accomplishment by accomplishment, moment by moment. And so you may not believe it even after this reading, but so be it. Let the day speak for itself. Let yourself speak when you feel guided to, but make sure you don't overthink. I'm getting that specifically. Some of you are overthinkers, excuse me, but it may be because of spirit. You know, think about it. I remind you of this throughout these readings often, as spirits do come through even in your own voice, within your mind, through your thoughts and your dreams. So just take a deep breath, you know, let it go, let it flow, maybe meditate. But then bravery is part of your energy, you know, and it's kind of feeling like these are intertwined with the silence card in the middle. You know, it's like you maybe are thinking back to your childhood, or some of you maybe need to get a release in order to heal your inner child, but it's like you've been through so much over time to the point where it leaves you thinking about things too uptight, too seriously, you know, but that serious kind of approach and way about communicating and doing things isn't always the right approach. You know, it's not always the key to your success. And so this is a period where we need to be implementing little bits and pieces of enjoyment, you know, what makes you happy, what lights you up, what makes you feel lighter. These kind of things need to be maybe written down into a non-traditional kind of list. I don't know why that's the wording coming through. Just write it down, you know, and then when times become too serious, too uptight, maybe a little too stressful, revisit it when you have that empty space, or you can just re-implement them, you know, things like tuning into music, creating art, you know, watching funny content, your favorite, laughable creator. But those are just small suggestions or possibilities. Think about what you can do to enjoy life more. But again, going back to the middle of your reading, why are things so quiet? You know, it's like moments when you expect for spirit to come through, or for people to be quite noisy. Okay, nothing, you know? But then you're needing to recognize that things are being orchestrated in your favor. Have you not asked for more silence? Have you not asked for things to be more simplistic, easier, more successful, but also more electrifying, you know? And so we start to notice that things are actually getting better, things are actually working in our favor. And when you get to the point of an upgrade or a shift otherwise of importance, however that's going to look like for you, it's just going to feel like, okay, yeah, I'm leaving this behind, right? Whatever that ends up being for you. And it could be within continuance, but it's like I could have been in a worse place, but I'm about to upgrade, shift towards better. You know, things are actually getting even more so better, right? And so we start to feel like, yeah, okay, my life could be worse, but it's getting better. And I know I'm being repetitive, but so be it. But we're going to move on to some tarot. Moving on is significant. You're thinking about moving on in the future, but you're also needing to move on from what you maybe are overthinking. But for some of you, it's not overthinking, but just focusing on it here and there or at a certain point. All right. I'm hearing nobody's perfect, and that may come into focus as far as people outside of you. But the Five of Pentacles talks about you feeling like an outsider or just like you don't fully fit in. Let it go. Why would you want to fit in with people that don't vibe with you or just don't really feel right for you energetically? And so we may find that that sparks some, thinking back, whether it's to childhood, schooling times, it may be about, friends, dating, you name it. Family matters for some. Let it go. You don't want to fit in with everybody. And so there's something about you also really needing money. And then they're saying, well, hasn't money come in recently? All right, well, if that's not the case, then so be it. Money lies ahead. For some of you, a bit of money comes in throughout this day and it feels like a bit of a gift. And then they're saying, put it aside, it'll support what you need to invest in for the near future. But actually, we're going to put it on the board. I don't know why I feel like discarding the negative cards so quickly. And then the Eight of Wands in reverse is saying slow progression, progress is what it's all about. Taking time, taking your time, that's what it's all about. Letting yourself really sink into the slow energy to the point where you really grasp what you deserve the best. Sinking into the silence and letting it really help you heal. And it's like spirits are saying, think, Libra. Interesting. I didn't mean to say Libra. Think, my beautiful soul, for this is where your life is at, but it's not everything. Imagine, think about, fantasize what you want better for the future and watch it come to be. And so we really feel like, okay, in the upright, things are actually picking up for you. But in reality, the day isn't about that. It's about slowing it down and being one with the pace of things that are quite purposeful. And it's like things are actually falling into place, but you don't fully feel like it at all times. But what can we do to fix that, to improve that? It's like you start to really feel better and then things work against it. You start to feel more positive, maybe more energetic, and then something, if not multiple aspects, work against that. We'll work on it, okay? It's like Spirit saying, you don't have to improve everything. You don't have to achieve everything. We'll do our thing, let us. While you just need to focus on yourself, on your energy, on being one with the silence and the empty space and heal, right? Get ready for brave moves. Get ready for brave steps and leaps of importance that lie ahead for you. It's to say that you feel like you are compromised on a few different levels, if not multiple, otherwise, and it's Spirit saying, well, that's the past, And so with what comes to be throughout this day, let it all work in your favor, all right? Stay grounded or get back to that energy. And don't overly focus on the future coming through as a crystal ball. Don't overly focus on your pentacle, all right? Because there's more to life. And so Spirit's saying we have a lot to do with you feeling a bit more electrified at certain points. It's about you remembering as well, you hold the balance that you need the most. So create it. You hold the key to a better life. So open that door. It's not about waiting until that actual door is here or that actual shift comes to be, but utilize that ability, that power, and open up that door figuratively to what you know is going to make you feel like this is my new life. And so it feels more balanced. And I know this reading feels a bit all over the place, but that's kind of how this energy is coming through. Your third eye is wide open, okay? So let it stay there. Let it teach you and show you what you're meant to see, feel, and understand accurately. Let this day really feel like a fresh, passionate start for you, okay? Let the past be the past, but teach you and remind you of what you're meant to be one with. And so I want to wrap up this reading by saying, you know more than meets the eye. You know more than you once did, and that will help you throughout this day, but more so moving forward. Let this day feel not only electrifying, but silent and brave. Let it all work out in your favor, for this is just one day, but it sets you up for a hell of a lot more. Take care.